What's going on, everybody? I'm Prairie77 coming at you again, and today we're going to be talking about Chris Watts and the 35C motion. We're going to break down what a 35C is, why it applies, why not an appeal, the difference between a 35C and an appeal, when he can do it, all that stuff, because there's been a lot of question and controversy, and a lot of people are just throwing out the wrong information. This is what I have researched, so this is true. Okay, let's get into it. First off, a 35C is not an appeal. They are two completely different things. There are reasons to do both or either, but I'll break down the basics for you. So first off, let's just break down what an appeal is, okay? The appeal is asking for, a conviction to be overturned, a sentence lessened, or whatever. That is submitted to the appellate court, a higher court, so it's going up. Whereas a 35C, it's going back to the court that Chris was in before. And an appeal, which I didn't know this, after all the post-trial motions have been completed, Chris would have had 35 days to file an appeal. Since he has not filed an appeal, he cannot file an appeal. There are some legal loopholes, like if there's some major evidence comes forward or something like that, then there obviously can be petitions, but as a general rule of thumb, no appeals. Now, something else about that. I am not 100% on this, so don't quote me, but if Chris confessed, which he did, as a bargaining chip to take death off the table, it's quite possible that he waived his rights to any appeals. So that would be another reason why no appeals, but he may not have waived his right for this 35C motion. I'm just spitballing with that, because if he was going to appeal, he would have had to have done it already, so there will be no appeals. But okay, let's talk about this 35C. As I've said, this motion goes back to the court where he was sentenced. It does not go up. So evidence is presented to that judge, and that judge can decide what he wants to do. He can do nothing. He can lessen Chris's sentence, which is kind of what I think Chris is going for, and I'll get into that. He can completely vacate everything. So Chris would once again be a free man in lieu of a new trial. I'm assuming there would be a trial, but that's an option as well. So unlike the appeal process, which has to be started within 35 days of the post-trial motions and everything being done, there is no time limit for the 35C, regardless of what you may have heard. There is on certain crimes, but for Class 1 felonies, which murder is one, there's no time limit. So he could wait 30 years and then do this. So there are several reasons for filing post-conviction relief, the 35C. I've got a list here, and then we're going to talk about a couple of them specifically, because there are a couple of avenues that Chris could go, and we're going to talk about them. Some of these won't apply, but okay. So common grounds for post-conviction relief under 35C. The defendant was illegally convicted or sentenced. The law under which the defendant was convicted is illegal. The defendant's conduct was legal. The court did not have authority over the case. There is new evidence of material facts that could not have been reasonably discovered prior to the conviction. The sentence has already been fully carried out. And then there's a catch-all kind of thing, other grounds called collateral attacks. And that would be like ineffective assistance of counsel or prosecutorial misconduct. Now, okay, prosecutorial misconduct. It's very hard to say. I have heard a few people saying that this could be a thing. The prosecutors did some shady stuff, I guess. I'm not going to say yay or nay to that, but that is, if that was a thing, then Chris definitely has a shot at this. The big one that I'm sure caught everyone's ear is the new evidence thing. So if there is new evidence that could not have been brought in before the conviction, that's the key. I mean, if Chris, let's just say that Chris had an accomplice, we're all thinking the same person, okay? If he can't bring that forward because that could have been brought forward before his conviction. So it has to be something that was discovered after. So if you guys are thinking that Chris is suddenly going to roll on NK, he wouldn't get the 35C for that. He's hooped. He waited too long for his appeals, if he could even get them, because he confessed. And this is clearly not what that is for. If he confessed knowing she did it or was part of it, and he just bit his tongue for whatever reason, this won't work for him. The one thing that really caught my eye was the first one. If the defendant was illegally convicted. Now, where am I going with that? You can't really argue that Chris is kind of vague on how the children died. He's kind of told some different stories and he can't really articulate it very well. So, let me just run you through a little scenario, okay? Let's say a man is stabbed to death, okay? And I up and walk into the police station, say, I killed him. They bring me in the room, we're talking about it, I say I shot him in the head. Now, the police know that he didn't die from a gunshot, he died from stab wounds. But they convict me anyway. That's illegal. So if the police, if they actually know how the children died and Chris couldn't articulate it, but they convicted him anyway, that would be grounds to file this motion. I don't know. I'm just saying. Now you might be thinking, well, just because he can't remember it exactly doesn't mean he didn't do it or he's not guilty. That's very true. But this is just, you know, it's the legalese. It's the way it's worded. Technically, it could be argued that if he didn't know how they died exactly, they really shouldn't have accepted his confession. On the other side of the coin, if it can be proven that they kind of fed him the information and he just regurgitated it back, that's, again, that could definitely bring this into play. Now, one thing I want to say, because this has really been coming up a lot and it doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure a lot of you are going to know what I'm talking about. People saying that KK or AD or whoever, by talking about this 35C, that they're ruining his chance for it. Okay, no. You can say whatever you want. It's not going to affect the court system at all. I think we as YouTubers think we have a lot more influence than we actually do. We don't, there's no way a judge who convicted Chris is going to be watching these YouTubers going, so that's what's going to happen. Well, I'm just going to deny it right off the bat. No. KK, AD, nobody is affecting Chris's chance at anything. Okay? That makes no sense. So don't jump on that train, okay? We're just YouTubers, we're just talking. And aside, unless Chris actually is recorded giving new information, and then that's broadcast, maybe that would hurt his chance at a 35C, but even then, that's pretty unlikely. No, I mean, if it's new evidence, it's new evidence. Doesn't matter if Chris says it and then someone hears it before it goes to the court, it's still new evidence. But it has to be evidence that could not have been submitted before the conviction, reasonably. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So what do you guys think his angle is going to be for the 35C? Let's talk about it. Hit me up in the comments below. And by the way, thank you to everybody for coming by and watching. And I hope you learned a little something. And that's it. So we'll catch you on the next one. And until then, this is Prairie Boy 77 saying good day, good night, and Godspeed.